Howdy y'all, got the Bulldog on the channel. Quick video here to show you something. We found this out a while back, but having the right tool can get you to your diagnosis so much quicker.
You see by the pressures, we're having issues.
Now this tractor is pretty new, very clean. First thing you think of is, well, maybe the condenser's plugged up or something, but no.
Screens in front of it, they're all clean. It's been all blown out. As you can see, there's no debris in that condenser, but we've got this snap-on thermal imaging gun. Look at that. We got a hot condenser up there, and right across there, there is a line where it just cools right off. That means that right around here, we have a restriction in the condenser internally, and it is plugging off. Up here, it's hot. You can't hardly put your hand on it, but down here, it's cold.
You could have done it the old school way and put your hand on it like that, but that's not nearly as definitive as using the tool. We can show the customer that way. Of course, this guy we don't have to worry about, but it takes a huge question mark about, oh, is it a stuck expansion valve? Is it a hose collapsed internally? Anything like that. You can take that heat gun and point right at it and say, here is the problem. Now we're recovering the system right now. We're going to attempt to blow out that condenser and see, but most likely we'll end up replacing it. We've got the machine recovering right now. Now, we don't know how much refrigerant was in this thing. The customer did put in 1 can by himself. We believe, he said it run it for a while and then it just shut off. He thought it was empty. Well, when the pressure gets all the way over to here, it has a switch on it that shuts it off. So most likely that's what happened. When it was hot, it's pretty cool this morning. It's about 70 degrees. So the pressure should be down, but they weren't. So he probably has it overfilled, which is a common issue whenever you don't have gauges that show you the high side. A lot of people will overfill them. We'll check on availability of a new compressor or new condenser. This thing is batched together. You can see a weld line right there, a weld line right there, and between these two sections, it has a restriction, and that's bumping the pressures up. So we'll see what we find.
Okay, after blowing it out back and forth and then flushing it out, our pressures are looking good.
And the temperature on our condenser up here is even again. And you see that dark line right there? That's where it's getting together. There and there. But it should be a smooth transition of heat from the top to the bottom. Now, before we flush this thing out, I took a container and I washed it out really good so that it'd be perfectly clean. And then we ran some solvent, back flushed it through that condenser. And let me show you, this thing was all foamed up, but we let it set here while the machine was pumping down over lunchtime, and show you what we found in it. Look at that. Look at that piece of junk there. That big piece of junk. I'm wondering if that might have been a possibility. I blew out the hose and everything. Look at all that stuff. That's why, well, now it's foaming up. It won't focus now. But there is an awful lot of junk in there. And like I said, this jug was perfectly clean. All kinds of crap. And, you know, I wish it would focus. That's big crap there. That's number one reason to recover your solvent, is so that you can filter it and know what was there, know what you actually blew out. If you did blow anything out, we were worried that maybe we weren't going to be able to see anything, maybe we couldn't prove anything, but that's pretty definitive there. I blew out the hose, I sprayed, washed out and blew out this jug, did all that stuff solely so that we would know if something came out of that condenser. 9 times out of 10, you're going to replace these parts because you don't know for sure. We know for sure that we got some junk out of it, and that is probably the problem. Can we know for 100%? No, we really can't. But that's pretty definitive right there. Okay, we're fired up. We brought it around back here. We washed it off. So that we didn't have any spill. Had a little bit of spillage with solvent and refrigerant oil and all that all over the front end. So took it out back and washed it all off. Sorry if I'm not pointing at my head. You kind of need all your facilities whenever you're operating machinery. You're not supposed to do it one-handed, but I am. Had the loader all picked up so that it didn't get in my way when we were just washing the front end. But I'm going to let it sit and run a little bit. Why is the front wheel assist hooked up? Oh, wait. I'm going to let it out, set it out front here. I'll let it run a little bit, make sure something doesn't fail. But our pressures were looking good. They're running half as much as they were. It was overcharged, so most likely what he had was the restriction in the condenser was causing it to overpressure and shut down, and then he made that worse by adding a can thinking it was low. That is why it is imperative that you know what the high side is doing whenever you're dealing with things. You got to know what everything, you got to know what both sides are doing. You got to know what the high side's doing, because just because the low side looks low, that doesn't mean the high side is not ready to explode. Yes, we work on everything. Yesterday we had in a grain truck and had a bad lift cylinder on it. We are not equipped to do stuff like that, but we still get consult. You know, if it was just a blown hose, we'd take care of it, but we're not into rebuilding cylinders or anything like that. We get grain trucks, we get tractors, we get combines, everything here. We just don't have anywhere to work on stuff. We don't have, our building's not tall enough. So, a little bit of a different adventure, but systems like this, it is just the same. So I've got to put one part back on while we're waiting, but everything's cooling pretty good. Like, comment, subscribe, hit your little bell notification, share it all around. We'll talk to you later.